Alexis Stinson is my guest tonight, and it's going to be a real interesting conversation. Her story is just fascinating. I'm calling her because, first of all, she's a pulp ride educator, and there's a lot of turnaround in her story. So we're calling her the Turnaround Pulp Riot Hair Jedi. Once upon a time, she went from being self-employed with about a $10,000 self-employment tax debt. I don't know if it was to the state, to the IRS, or both, but it really doesn't matter. IRS debt is debt, right? And she flips over to not just a commission, but a great summit salon that is commission-based, Color Lush Salon in Dixon. Leslie and Joe Miller own Color Lush, and their coach is Mike Carter. So I think the combination of all of that, a year later, she's out of the mess with debt and trending to be $100,000 in a W-2. You know what? That's not bad. That's like blowing it up big time. So going to be an interesting conversation in the name of being totally transparent here. This is where her life was. So in 2018, as self-employed, 25 grand. 2019, self-employed, 30 grand. 2020, I believe somewhere in there she flips over 40. It got, she's growing, but look at this. She's trending 100 grand, and she had stepped on a little bit of an unexpected, life gets lifey sometimes, and had to take a little bit of time off. But trust me when I tell you, at 32 to 35 hours a week, she's trending to do $100,000 W-2. And as you know, that is, that's right, baby. That's a lot of ching-ching. She is technically in the salon, she's a level 5, but basically she's a 4 AA. On the very front end of 30-something. Average ticket's $150. Average day is about 7.5 or so. Haircut price is interesting. Is 1/3 where their average ticket is, which tells me that she's pulp rioting anything that moves in her chair. So she's got the overwhelming majority of her guests. She's got them involved in some great color work, as you'll see. About 10 referrals a month. I mean, you do the math on that. She's a triple digit, in any given year, doing a lot of referrals, rebooking 60%, and her retail to service is running at about 20 points. So, hey, she is in the game. She's going to tell you her story, so I don't want to take anything away from that. But her timeline in a nutshell: graduates high school in 2008, she's got an interesting little window there between when she graduates from high school and she goes to hair school, graduates in 2012. 2017, she starts at Color Lush as a self-employed renting chair, and then salon goes to the summit in 2019. And, when Mr. and Mrs. come home, they present a value proposition to people that are self-employed. One went away, a couple stayed. Alexis was one of them. Like I said, in 2021, 2020, COVID, 40 grand, and then, as I said, 90 to 100 trending in 2021. So there's a heck of a story there. I love what she's doing on Instagram. So if you follow her, you're going to see a lot of her work. Some real edgy hair color services. _Lexus. It's like a and she's very much in the game. So she right now is in my green room. Let's go get her, and then we'll get her talking about what she's doing and her story first and foremost, because it's a big story, and then talk about what's different now. That's the nitroglycerin on her bonfire, if you will. So she's here. I'm going to go bring her full screen. And we're going to unmute Alexis, and you're going to give her a big round of applause. Hi, Alexis.
Oh.
How are you?
I'm good.
You look good tonight. We were chatting earlier, and you said, the life must have gotten lifey for you on Thursday because you were stressed out as with the best of us. So the universe must be conspiring to help us tonight.
Yeah, I feel like today is flowing much better.
Well, listen, thanks for coming on. And when we bring people on, we always like to start with the story because the story really gives us an appreciation of just the person beyond a hairdresser and how they got to where they are. And I'll tell you, I've listened to a few hundred stories in the last few years, and I just love yours because it involved a self-employment piece. There's a commissionable piece, and as you know, that can be a very emotionally charged conversation. So let's get right at it. Get us started. Who are you first and foremost, and what compelled you to choose to be a hairdresser, and then what did you have to go to get to where you're at now? So how's that for starters?
No pressure. So I've always loved hair. It's something that I always had done in high school. I felt like I was a trendsetter, so to speak. So I definitely wanted to get my hands wet with doing hair, but my mom and other family members said, "Hey, why don't you give a university a try?" And I thought I really love meteorology, so and I want to be a storm chaser, so I think I'm gonna go to school for meteorology. That lasted for about a semester. um, I dabbled with some other stuff. Fast forward about 3 years or so, and I decided, hey, I want to do hair. And I actually stuck with it. And the running joke with friends and family was, hey, you must be good at it because you stuck with it. And, here we are.
I love it.
So, yeah.
So when you started though, right after hair school, you immediately went into, oh no, you worked a little bit for corporate salons, and that was as a commissionable, I believe, employee. And
Yeah, I started out as soon as so who I used to get my hair done with actually before doing hair, she offered me a position, and so it was at a big corporate salon where it was our haircuts were $15.50, and I was making 32% of that. So on average, starting out, I was making about $250 a month. So that was really hard.
yes,
Not knowing that there was going to ever be another side to any of that.
right. And so then from there, you go into the self-employment community, correct? And
Yeah.
is that when you started working for Blush?
So once I was done with making no money, I was ready to make some more no money and do self-employment. And I dove way too fast into that without being any kind of prepared. But I made it work for a few years. I went to a few different hair salons that were booth rental, and I did that until actually the owner of Color Lush, Leslie, found me, saw I was drowning, offered me a job at her salon that she was opening. And it was self-employed, and my booth rent went up. It was the most I'd ever paid. But my business also went up. So there was a plus side to it.
And then so now you're at Color Lush as self-employed, and things are going better.
Mm-hmm.
And then you were on that choo-choo track for a little while, and then it sounds like that Leslie and Joe do Summit somewhere in here, right? And what was
Yeah,
that, 2019
that was
ish?
2019. Yeah, we became a Summit Salon in October of 2019.
And so they come back from the summit and they make the value proposition to people in there that whoever wants to roll over to, it's just not a commission model, but we'll call it a summit based level system commission
Mm-hmm.
model. You were one of the people that said, okay, let's give this a shot.
Yeah, definitely.
And
Um,
and the rest is history.
yeah, definitely. I had just so that same year in March of 2019, I had my daughter. Within a month of having my daughter, we had to pay in to the IRS in self-employment debt and some other little debt here and there with it. And when they offered that in October, it was just kind of like a no-brainer for me.
So October 2019, they make the offer. So
Mm-hmm.
really, 2020, the year of COVID, was really your first year in the salon that you were self-employed. Now you had your first full year, 2020. Income got better. You go from wherever it was to 40. And was that
Yeah.
the year you were able to clean up the debt that you had from the prior?
Yeah, we started immediately paying on the debt the year prior, and it finally got paid off. We were paying it off actually sooner than we needed to, um, uh, in 2020.
And so, what I'm curious about is in 2021, you went from a $40,000 W-2 2020. It's just you're trending 90 this year, 100 this year. Now you had to kind of navigate through some personal medical stuff and take a little bit of a sabbatical. You're back in the game. But what everyone's going to be most curious about is, so what was the difference? You were in the same salon that you had always been in. You were self-employed. They come back from Summit. It's a big pivot from self-employed to employee, and there's many people, frankly, they don't make the pivot. They kind of pivot out, and which is fine, but you didn't, and it really worked for you. I mean, it really profoundly changed the trajectory of your income. What the heck happened? Like, what was it about that flip that kind of turned it around for you?
Honestly, first and foremost, the owners of the salon, I grew very, very close with them in the amount of time that I've worked with them. And I literally trust my whole career, which means my whole family and life, on them. So no pressure on them either, but they just spoke very highly. They felt like they could trust anything and everything that the summit gave them, and knew and could see it worked. And so it was just something that I felt like self-employment is just not for me. I love doing hair. I hate business though. I hate the business side of it. Every day I felt like it was, I was making money because I would be, paid, and I'd have all this money coming in, but I never really kept track of all the money going out. And so it was too much. And then with a newborn also, that was just way over my head. So when they presented me with that, it was definitely, at first I thought, man, here goes my freedom. But then I got to thinking about it, and I'm like, no, maybe not. Here goes my freedom. And I have more freedom now than I did as self-employed.
Yeah. So you said a lot there. I want to unpack a little bit of it. There was something about that I was keeping track. You kind of, when you're self-employed, you're very conscious of what you're bringing in.
Yeah.
But you said I really wasn't keeping as mindful of what was going out, and didn't know that the difference between what was coming in and what was going out, that difference was substantially less than it. Like, it was shocking when you saw it. I have some colleagues that would say that when somebody goes from commission to self-employed, it feels like, the person says, I've never made this much money in my life. And it was like, well, kind of, but it's more like I've never touched this much money in my life. But a lot of what I'm touching as it's coming in is going out. But we get so busy in life, we can't see that until we can see it.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, the other thing I heard you say, at least I think, is that the owners, of the business, when they came back from Summit, and then combination of Mike Carter, who is a Summit coach, and he's one of my faves. I can put him in the top 3, maybe 5 of the 100 coaches in Summit. But the idea that, it's like all of a sudden they weren't landlords anymore. They were my employer. And there's a saying at Summit, employers, we care more about you than landlords do.
Oh, and that's so true. Talking about Leslie and Joe, I mean, they would give me anything and everything if I asked for it, with not a second, doubt in their mind. So yeah, that was huge of them. They definitely trust in us.
Now, what kind of difference was the charts? First of all, because when you came into the Summit system, we have level charts. We have the associate program. We have the coaching. We have, and you told me what their the salon's point of sale computer system is, but I forgot.
So we use, well, we do use Forest now.
Okay, so you know you're set up and very system based structure scaffolding, and we take that for granted until we're in it.
Yeah, so true, so true.
And all of a sudden it's like, whoa, there's a coach here that's advocating my growth and actually helping me to think through how I'm going to be pivoting from day to day. And my owners are supporting me. I've got resource around me. You can't appreciate that until you come in from an environment that had absolutely none of that.
It's so true.
And so now, I mean, you've experienced almost a 300% increase in income from going self-employed to, I'm going to call it Summit Commission based. What's that like for you now? How has this changed your lifestyle, your standard of living, you, the quality of your life, your family? Tell us something about that.
So I would say that I just feel so much more comfortable now. I don't feel like I have to constantly stress. I mean, of course I have to stress, but not as much as I used to. I may sound silly, but one thing I was thinking about that made the biggest difference for me is I like to go to concerts a lot, a lot. It's a thing me and my husband do. And before, I'd never had the money to scraping pennies, right, to go to shows. Now I don't have to think of things of like that. That's so comfortable for me. I feel like I finally am an adult with that.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, we have wiggle room. There's things that we can afford to pursue a dream, right?
Yeah.
Money is energy, and it's energy that makes the lives of the people we care about most better, including our own. And the more money we have, the more energy. And all of a sudden, you go, whoa! I have a partner, Randy Kunkel, would say that, you know, before you got here, he used to say, I'm so broke, I can't even afford to pay attention.
That's me. That was me. In my head, I was very wealthy, but in reality, not so much.
Yeah. So, the secret sauce of all secret sauces, as people are kind of watching this now, and there'll be several that will be watching it in the next few weeks, what would be a taste of secret sauce that you would say this was it continues to be a difference maker for me? How would you answer that?
So I feel as though surrounding myself with like-minded and career-minded stylists has been the biggest game changer for me. I've been surrounded by quite a different amount of stylists throughout my career, and the people I'm with now and the owners of the salon have really just shown me that I can grow. I don't have to do hair until I die.
Right.
I can retire.
Yeah. No, you what you're saying is I want to unpack a little bit of that because that's huge. Somebody just asked a question: does Alexis have an associate yet? I believe you have a couple of them.
So actually just only have one right now, and it's so I've had a couple and had some, when I started out with an associate, had some bumps in the road and everything, but I did actually just graduate my first associate, and she is killing it already.
Yeah. So wonderful. Now, the idea that you said something really key, something about that the people that are around us, the people that I call, we live with them at work. Mm-hmm. Right? It's not just about, oh, these are people that I work with. No, you're spending 32, 35 hours a week of your life in this ecosystem with other people, your peers. So to me, you're living with them as much as you are working with them. And you're saying their consciousness, that counts. So you've got people that are now not just employed, but on a commission/summit model. They have what I would call a growth mindset. They're career driven. There's a number of people that are in, whether it's self-employment communities or non-summit commission-based communities, where I hear people use the term hobby hairdressers. That
Oh yeah.
I don't see this as a career. At best, it's a job. I just work long enough to make a little bit of money, but that's a very different consciousness than the consciousness and culture that you're in now. At least that's what I get as I listen to you.
Yeah, it definitely is, and it's very team oriented. I mean, I feel like I wouldn't be where I'm at right now if I didn't have my whole salon team backing me up. I mean, they're there to catch me anytime I fall, and I fall a lot. So physically too, I fall a lot. So they're always there for me. So that
Right.
helps a lot.
Right. And you just, good, bad, or indifferent, it's hard to find that in a self-employed community. Now, having said that, from time to time, I'll bump into a self-employment community that, if you couldn't tell by looking, that you pick up this consciousness, but those models seem to be more the exception than the
Yeah.
rule. The rule is it's pretty. When they call self-employed, you're working by yourself, for yourself,
Oh,
and kind of like after you, the earth starts dropping off a little bit, right?
yeah, definitely.
So this really, really matters. So I'm really happy that we're having this conversation. One last question, I'm gonna let you get back to your fam, and that is, a lot of people are watching tonight, and there'll be a lot more watching the replay as it lives on our various platforms. And this is a big conversation. It's very, rental, commission, and there's a lot of people that are on like polarized sides of this. But there's people that'll be watching this, I know, that are going to be looking at you, listening to you, relating and identifying with you, and saying, okay, I've been self-employed, and my life is going on right now the way your life was. And now you're talking about a different option. Wow, I wonder if I found that and took the leap of faith, could I be in a place that you are, Alexis? But they're, and I gave everybody your Instagram handle, so if they want to chat with you, they can. What might you say to them that would give them the hope and the motivation to, like you took the giant leap of faith into the unknown. You hit the ground running. It's not like you were face down in the mud with arrows in your back. Like you're doing well. What might you say to them that would give them the inspiration to do what you did?
I would say that, like for myself, what I was doing wasn't working, and so why not try it? You see and that it works, why not try it? I mean, you're already in the position you're in. You can always go back to it. But
I love
see if
that.
it can
I
be
love,
better?
yeah, when you're earning 30 grand, 40 grand, and you go, I'm gonna go down this path, and I know I can always go back to where I was.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
one of those, the world again and not a lot to lose. So I'm really glad I asked you that question. Listen, we're out of time, but promise me that you'll come back for an encore, because I think you're just getting warmed up. And 2022, I think, is going to be nuclear for you. Do you have any plans for 2022 that as you're kind of looking at it coming your way, or is it more of the same?
Actually, I want to do more. I want to have multiple associates if possible. Work 2 days a week if I can, and do more teaching with Pulp Riot. I feel like is going to be my biggest thing. I'm in a really big education mindset right now,
Mm.
so I really want to help grow these new stylists and show them the other side.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we'll have you back for an encore next year, because I actually am going to be doing a Facebook Live interview tomorrow afternoon with Paige Cruz Lowe, who is really, it's an encore interview. I knew Paige when she was like level 1, level 2. Now she's working with 4 associates, and she's trending to do 200,000 this year. So I have a feeling I'll talk to her tomorrow. I think I'm going to bet her a grande Starbucks toffee nut latte that you're going to be on her heels next year.
Well, thank you for that. I hope so.
All right, my friend. I'm going to let you get back to your fam. It's been great meeting you and speaking with you. Best of luck, and we'll be in touch because I follow you on my news feed.
Okay. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
All right. Stay well. We're going to give it up for Alexis one more time, you guys. All right. That was a beautiful interview, my friends. That was a very, very real interview with Miss Alexis. And again, I'm not advocating one or the other. I just thought it was very, very interesting. And she, frankly, isn't the first person that I talked to that once upon a time in this salon, it was all self-employment. And then the owner of this salon went to Summit, came back from Summit, and gave a new alternative to the self-employed community. And some took the owner up on the offer. Some stayed as they were. Some, it scared them and they left. But there's always some that stay and flip. And you have an Alexis Stinson story. So that's not the first one that I've heard. But anytime that I bump into somebody like that, I always like to bring them on because I just think it's a very real how my life was, what happened, what it's like now, and it takes some confusion off of this topic because a lot of people there's just misinformation. Some people are not just misinformed; they're uninformed, and so stuff like this tends to give greater clarity and truth to a lot of the questions that kind of hover and orbit around self-employment versus commission. So thanks again to Alexis. Give it up for her one more time. You're watching Michael Cole, Millionaire Stylist, on both Facebook and Instagram. Welcome, Instagram. It now lives on both of the channels. Unlike Facebook, though, what we will be doing with tonight's interview is we'll cook that down to about a 5-minute, 6-minute, we call them micro learnings, and I'll put it on the Michael Cole Millionaire Stylist IGTV channel for you to watch as well. So a lot of people watching tonight that are new to our community. So Summit, I am technically Michael Cole Summit, powered by L'Oreal, or Michael Cole powered by Summit and L'Oreal, however you want to skin that. I'm part of those communities and very grateful to be part of it. Our .com is summitsalon.com if you're interested in us. And there's another kind of peripheral there called summitsalon365.com. And it's where a lot of the production value, personal videos that I put on that platform. It's a subscription site. And I'm just putting a whole series on there called Top 20 Wellness, Emotional Wellness, Mental Wellness, Mindfulness. And it's very, very, very profound. It's more transformational training, frankly, and it's not like live stuff. It's a lot of production value, a lot of editing, so it's just wonderful. It's become a labor of love. Love to have you come over there and hang out with us. If you're interested, again, it's summitsalon365.com and at Michael Cole Summit. The other thing that I wanted to mention to you is that Summit Salon Business Center now, we have about a faculty of about 100 coaches. And we're now probably well over half of all the coaching that we do is virtual coaching online using Zoom platforms and other various platforms. So you can schedule a 30-minute complimentary virtual consultation with us to see what that's like. But our community now is around 5,000 salons in the community. Our community now probably houses about 50,000 service providers, hairdressers, estheticians, nail artists, massage therapists, etc. And we have an array of front desk support part of that community as well. So would love to have a conversation with you. Wanted to invite you to do that. And as a, I call it highly unique, value added, when you go to Michael Cole Instagram, which is the Michael Cole Millionaire Stylist on Instagram, if you look at my link tree and you click it, you'll see a drop down that says Behind the Chair Millionaire Calcs. And so these are gamified calculators. We're very goal oriented here, very goal driven. We have obsessive compulsive goal setting disorder, and we have our calculators that they're hairdresser friendly, they're gamified, they do all the thinking for us. There's an enormous amount of intelligence built into them, and they just do a great job in setting income goals, savings goals, debt reduction goals, and it breaks everything down about what do I need to do behind the chair on a daily basis with guests that I'm serving to hit these goals and become not just a high income, but wealthy, prosperous. That's why we call it Behind the Chair Millionaire. So been a great show. We always like to end the show thanking L'Oreal. We're an exclusive business partner. Summit Business Center is. These are our brands. Support our brands, because L'Oreal's gracious financial support is large in part because of what our community does and being loyal to L'Oreal and their brands. From Biolage, Pope Riot, Alexis was on tonight. She's an educator for Pope. Kerastase, Purology, L'Oreal Professional, Redken, Matrix, Shoe, Mazzani. And we have another educational brand called Salon Emotion. Hi, Salon Emotion. Love you all. So saying thank you to them for that. We will be on tomorrow afternoon at 12 o'clock Central, 1 o'clock Eastern for the Paige Cruz Lowe interview. She is a level 4 AAAA. It's almost like 4A to the fourth power. She's trending to earn $20,000 in a W-2 this year. And she's back for an encore. Going to do that at 12 tomorrow Central, 1 Eastern. So tune in for that. It's going to be a great conversation. Until then, have a good evening. And who knows, maybe I'll see you tomorrow.